Hey there. I'm glad you agreed to help me out with this. What I wanted to do is record a quick video to tell you about what I'm going to be asking you to do. Okay. So the first thing to go over is just what is an Advanced Health Care Directive. You might have sometimes heard of it as a health power of attorney or medical power of attorney. It essentially is a legal document that gives your agent, the person that you designate, the legal authority to make medical decisions on your behalf if you're unable to. Now, if you've ever had an operation in a hospital or gone under anesthesia at the dentist or something, one of the forms that you sign is essentially a temporary medical power of attorney. In case something happens while you're under the influence of anesthesia, that person can make decisions on your behalf. Like if you go to the dentist and they put you under and they find, that you've got a much bigger problem and they're going to need to do a different procedure than you had anticipated, well, you can't grant their permission if you're, out cold. So you give somebody your power of attorney, your medical power of attorney, temporarily to make that decision for you. Well, this is kind of the same thing, or is essentially the same thing. This is a legal document that gives your agent the right to make medical decisions on your behalf when you're unable to do so for yourself. And it should be something that you keep readily available so that if you're going in a hospital, you can provide your doctor with a copy of this, or you should give your primary care physician a copy of your Advanced Health Care Directive. And your agent should be able to know where to find it or where to get it. So let's say, God forbid, you're involved in a car accident and you're in the hospital. If your agent knows that you have this power of attorney, this healthcare directive, that they can get a copy of that. Hopefully they already have it, but if they don't, they know where to find a copy of it and come to the hospital, present that, and so they'll be able to make the decisions that you would like. So there's not a lot to do here in terms of asking questions. I've sent you a questionnaire, which basically is just going to gather some data, name, address, phone numbers, what have you, for both yourself and the person that you identify as an agent of yours. So one of the first decisions to make is who is going to be my healthcare agent. It could be a spouse. It could be a parent. It could be a significant other. It could be your best friend. It doesn't really, there's no real limitation, except they have to be at least 18 years of age. So you want to pick somebody that you trust will make the right decision on your behalf. And then you really want to have at least one backup, preferably two, in the event that it's kind of an emergency and the hospital or the doctor calls your primary agent or reaches out to your primary agent and they can't get a hold of them. Well, we want to know, if they're not available, who's the next person that we can ask? And you can have single agents or multiple agents, both for your initial agent and your successor or alternate backup agent. So you may want two people, say your spouse and a parent be your initial agent, and you want them, either one of them, to act on your behalf, or you may want them to act successively. So, it's really any combination that you want. I usually recommend that you have one primary agent and two secondary agents that we just literally go down the list, okay? So that's the first question that we're going to ask you. Let's see, the next question is going to be, do you already have a living will? So living will is a little bit different than an Advanced Health Care Directive. A living will is more like instructions to your doctor about do not resuscitate, okay, and what to do with any organs of yours if you should pass. So we'll just quickly, yes or no, do you have a living will? I suspect most people don't. There's a question about, if I become incapacitated, do I want to be maintained in my own home? Usually people say yes to the greatest extent possible. So let's say you left in an unfortunate vegetative state when you're still alive. If it's possible, you want to be kept at home. Another question that we'll ask is, do you want your agent to be able to contract for psychiatric treatment on your behalf? So let's say you are showing advanced stages of Alzheimer's and you're not able to handle your own affairs. Well, your agent on your behalf could then contract for psychiatric evaluation to make sure that that's what's going on. Or let's say you have a mental issue, stability issue. Your agent could reach out and have a psychiatrist do an evaluation and decide what is the appropriate steps after that. There is a section here where we talk about anatomical gifts. So do we want to make any statement about our anatomical gifts? Should you be in an unfortunate position where you don't make it, you pass away? Do you want your organs available for transplant or for research or both or any purpose, or do you want to just be silent on the issue? A lot of people take the approach, I don't need my Advanced Health Care Directive to say that, and they make no statement about it. For the ladies involved here, we need to figure out what do we want to do if you are pregnant. Okay, are there any kinds of any kind of procedures that you want to make sure they don't do, like a proactive abortion or life-sustaining decisions to make? So I'll ask you a couple of questions about that. So just give that some thought. And last but not least, we will include what's called a HIPAA authorization that basically just says who can have access to your medical records. And do you want this document to be effective immediately upon signing, or do you want to wait until a doctor says you're incapacitated? I generally recommend that you say it's immediate upon signing, and that way your agent doesn't have to worry about first going to get a doctor to say you're incapacitated. Instead, they have that authority right from the very beginning. And if you have a primary care physician, do we want to include their name here? If you have a long-standing relationship, you have a primary care physician, and you know you're going to keep them for a while, then I would recommend you include their name. If not, I would suggest that we just stay silent on the issue. So fill out the questionnaire, send it back to me. The design sheet is just for you to use to kind of guide you about what questions I'm going to ask of you, and I've highlighted them, okay? So the ones that are highlighted in yellow are the ones I'm going to be asking you, all right? So that's about it. Let me get back to here. If you have any questions, you can email me the questions or text me. If you have my cell phone number, call me. Cell phone number is 202-957-6789. So if you want to just text or call with a question that you may have, I'll be able to answer that.